Jung said, "What you resist persists, but have you noticed how it quietly runs your life? The anger you deny leaks out as sarcasm. The fear you bury becomes control. The insecurity you hide turns into judgment of others. You call it personality, but it's your shadow pulling the strings." Marcus Aurelius warned, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. So why does it feel like something else is in charge? Look closely, these signs aren't random. They're the parts of you refuse to face, now deciding your fate. You feel disproportionately triggered by certain people because they mirror traits you refuse to see in yourself." Carl Jung warned, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Yet most people never follow that trail inward. Instead, you label them as arrogant, lazy, needy, or manipulative, without noticing how intensely emotional your reaction is. That intensity is the clue. When a reaction feels bigger than the situation, it is rarely about them alone. It is your shadow knocking on the door. Imagine someone at work who constantly irritates you with their self-promotion. You tell yourself you value humility, yet beneath that irritation may be a disowned desire to be seen, recognized, or valued. Because you have rejected that part of yourself, it appears externally as something to judge. The Stoics understood this dynamic in a different language. Epictetus said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things." Your judgment is often shaped by what you cannot accept within yourself. A simple exercise. The next time someone triggers you, pause and ask, "Where does this exist in me, even in a small or hidden way?" Write it down without censoring yourself. This is not about self-condemnation, but self-reclamation. Because what you resist does not disappear. It simply changes form and begins to control you from the shadows. You present a carefully controlled persona while privately feeling disconnected, empty, or inauthentic. Jung called this mask the persona, the version of you crafted to be accepted, admired, or at least not rejected. The problem is not that the persona exists, it is that you begin to believe it is all that you are, and whatever does not fit that image gets pushed into the shadow. You might be the reliable one, the strong one, the nice one, the rational one, but beneath that identity, other impulses are waiting. Anger, creativity, desire, vulnerability. When these are denied, life begins to feel flat, like you are watching yourself rather than living. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good. But if you only look within the approved parts of yourself, you cut yourself off from that fountain. The result is a subtle exhaustion, a sense that something is missing but you cannot name it. Try this. Write down the roles you play in your life. Then ask, what am I not allowed to be in each of these roles? The answers reveal the shadow. Integration does not mean acting out every impulse. It means acknowledging their existence so they no longer control you indirectly. When you stop performing yourself and start including your full humanity, that emptiness begins to dissolve. You repeatedly fall into the same patterns of behavior and relationships despite your conscious intentions to change. This is one of the clearest signs your shadow is in control. You tell yourself this time will be different, yet somehow you end up in the same kind of conflict, the same kind of relationship, the same kind of self-sabotage. Jung described this as unconscious compulsion, and he put it bluntly, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. It feels like fate because you are not aware of the hidden forces driving your choices. Perhaps you keep choosing emotionally unavailable partners, or you sabotage opportunities just as they begin to succeed. These are not random accidents. They are patterns rooted in unintegrated parts of your psyche, seeking expression. The Stoics offer a grounding counterpoint through the idea of awareness and discipline. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, But when your shadow is active, you suffer, in repetition, the same pain, again and again. A practical step. Map your last 3 major disappointments or conflicts. Look for common threads. What role did you play each time? Not to blame yourself, but to see yourself clearly. Because the moment you see the pattern, you step out of it. Awareness is the first act of freedom. You judge others harshly for traits that secretly exist within you, even if in a different form. The shadow does not only hide what is dark, it also distorts your perception of others. When you condemn someone intensely, especially with a sense of moral superiority, it often signals projection. You are disowning a part of yourself and placing it onto them. This is why 2 people can witness the same behavior and react completely differently. One shrugs, the other burns with judgment. The difference is not the behavior, it is the unresolved material within the observer. Jung emphasized that projection is one of the primary ways the shadow operates, quietly shaping your worldview. Marcus Aurelius offered a corrective when he wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself, what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" This is not about excusing harmful behavior, but about reclaiming your psychological ownership. Try this exercise. The next time you harshly judge someone, write down the trait you see in them. Then ask, where does this show up in my life? Even subtly. Maybe you call someone selfish, yet you neglect your own needs until resentment builds. Maybe you call someone controlling, yet you micromanage your own life out of fear. Integration begins when you stop dividing the world into good people and bad people, and instead recognize the shared complexity of human nature. You avoid discomfort, vulnerability, or inner conflict, choosing distraction instead of self-confrontation. This is perhaps the most socially reinforced sign of an unintegrated shadow. Modern life offers endless ways to escape yourself. Scrolling, consuming, staying busy, numbing out. But what you avoid does not disappear. It accumulates. Jung's insight that what you resist persists becomes painfully visible here, because the more you avoid your inner world, the more it begins to leak into your outer life through anxiety, irritability, or a vague sense of dissatisfaction. The Stoics practice the opposite. They train themselves to sit with discomfort, to face reality directly. Epictetus taught that freedom comes from mastering your inner responses, not avoiding them. Avoidance feels like relief in the moment, but it strengthens the shadow over time. A simple but powerful practice. Set aside 10 minutes each day with no distractions. No phone, no music, no tasks. Just sit and observe your thoughts. Notice what arises that you usually push away. Ask yourself, what am I unwilling to feel? And stay with it a little longer than is comfortable. This is how you begin to reclaim the parts of yourself you have abandoned. Because the shadow does not dissolve through force or denial, it dissolves through awareness and courage. And every moment you choose to face yourself instead of escape, you take back a piece of your life.